Live this weekend from the Oriental Sports Centre, we have Nurmagomedov versus Song. Just a fight night card. Overall, I think the card looks pretty good. There's some guys making their debut, so interested to see that. I'm just going to pick 3 fights I like on the card, and hopefully give you some betting insight and quick breakdown and opinion on how I think the fights will play out. First fight I wanted to just touch on quickly. Couple of featherweights. Jack Jenkins versus Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson is 34 years old. Jack Jenkins, 32. A huge disparity in the height. Sean Woodson, 6'2". Jack Jenkins is only 5'7". Sean Woodson at 6'2" is massive for featherweight. Also the reach, 68-inch reach for Jack Jenkins and a 79-inch reach for Sean Woodson. So 11 inches reach difference there. I think this will be a good fight. I like Jack Jenkins particularly. I think he's full of heart. He's a tough son of a bitch. Sean Woodson, I don't really like his style quite so much. He's a little bit of a sort of points fighter sort of style. Doesn't really go in there and like to bang real hard. I think he plays it safe most of his fights. But hard to argue with his success. He's had a good run in the UFC. He's got a lot of good wins on his record. He's only lost twice in the UFC. His most recent fight against Dan Ige actually lost by KO in the 3rd round. And Dan Ige's a motherfucker, so I think Sean Woodson's always going to be a bit of a gatekeeper sort of fighter. But I think he's earned his keep in the UFC. I rate him to be a pretty good fighter. But just a lot of decisions on his record sort of doesn't strike me as the most entertaining style, but I've watched him fight quite a few times, and like I said, for being 6'2" and featherweight, he uses his size really well, and he knows what he's doing in there. Jack Jenkins, on the other hand, very entertaining, I would say. He's a brawler. He goes out there and he likes to bang. He's probably a little bit too wild for his own good, sort of thing. I remember, I just wanted to touch on his fight with Shepe Mascaral. He got taken down and dislocated his elbow in that fight. But that didn't really stop him. That never really stopped him. They called that fight a draw, I believe. Or no contest, I'm not sure. Anyway, good fight. And in his most recent performance, he versed Raymond Tavares, and he won that by unanimous decision. So overall, I like Jack Jenkins more so in this fight. I think he's going to get in there with his brawling style and wing some good punches and hopefully try and knock out Sean Woodson early. But I think more likely this is going to be a decision win for Jack Jenkins as well. I think Woodson's going to be a little bit overwhelmed with his pressure. And I think, Jack could probably look to try and take it to the ground, deliver some ground and pound, try and control him on the ground for a few rounds, and I think he'll lock up a pretty solid decision win there, unanimous. I think Sean Woodson's going to try and keep him on the outside, same sort of style we always see from Sean Woodson, just picking him off on the outside, using that point style, using his range, using his teeps. I think I hope Jack Jenkins blasts through all that and gets in close and can get him down, and just get the hooks on him, and Hopefully knock him out, but I think more likely I'm going to lock in a Jack Jenkins here by decision, unanimous decision in that one, guys. All right, the next fight I like the look of will take place at bantamweight. We got Arichi Lang versus Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura, after coming on into the UFC, he's been in UFC for 3 fights now. I think he's probably not all he was hyped up to be. I think I personally thought he would have done better. But he finally got his first win, KO Cameron Smotherman in the 1st round. So he looked good in that one, but obviously, he's lost his last 2. Tim Elliott's no joke, and Alex Pantoja got fed straight in for a title shot, and obviously come up short by a sub in that one. I think he is a pretty good fighter, Kai Asakura. Like I said, I think he's sort of been thrown in the deep end a little bit. So I'm hoping he can keep bouncing back now. He's got his first win, got the jitters out the way. So we'll see how far he can go. He is 32 years old, so starting to get to sort of the twilight of his career. I think, he's probably got a few more good years in him, especially being a smaller guy at bantamweight. I think he's yeah, I think he's gonna do all right for a few more years yet, but definitely got to go now. Now is the time. Reachy Lung, 33. Very, very similar in height and weight, these guys. Reach, sorry. Very similar. Well, exactly the same in reach. Exact same height. Arichi, the Mongolian murderer Lung. So, quite a mouthful there. Forgive me for any mispronunciation. So he's coming off a KO loss to Cody Haddon in round 2. Got knocked out with a knee. Before that, he won by KO, knocked out Cody Gibson. I don't really rate Cody Gibson very highly. This guy seems to like fighting Codys. Lost a decision to Raul Ruzas Jr. So I think, he's got a fair few fights under his belt now. He hasn't always won. He puts on a pretty entertaining style, I think, Arichi Lung. And the Mongolian murderer nickname, you got to go out there and throw the hands. So I think that's what we're going to see in this fight, and I think both guys are pretty good with the striking. I'd give Kaya Sakura the benefit on the ground, I think, but he doesn't really strike me as a massive grappler sort of style fighter. So I think we can expect a good back and forth war here. I think this will be a good close, entertaining fight. Arichi Lung's quite a sizable underdog in this one. I think they're probably, the odds makers are probably giving Kaya Sakura a little bit too much. Leaning towards him a little bit too much here. I think it's probably more even than the odds makers suggest. Kaya Sakura is definitely a little bit cleaner. Like I said, Arichi Lung, the Mongolian murderer, he goes out there, he goes pretty crazy. He's definitely got a bit more of a wild sort of style to him. I think Kaya Sakura doesn't necessarily play it safe. I think he can throw bombs as well, but he's definitely a little bit more refined, a bit more technical. They both have a fairly similar record too. 26 wins, 13 losses for Arichi Lung, and 22 wins, 6 losses for Kaya Sakura. Obviously, a lot of them haven't been in the UFC, but he's from the Risen where he previously fought. I think there's some pretty high level competition in that corporation as well. So I think, I'm going to go with Kaya Sakura in this one. I think he can knock out Arichi Lung. I think he's going to come in a bit too wild, and he's probably going to get cracked with some big shots. And I think at bantamweight, Kaya Sakura has fairly solid power for the division. I think he'll knock him out in round 2 is my pick for that one. And I think it will be a bit of a back and forth in the first round, especially. I think it'll be Arichi Lung cracking him, Kaya cracking him back. But I think, most of the time, Kaya Sakura will get the better of the exchanges just with his sheer technique and skill level and the experience, the higher level competition he's faced. So I think, Kaya Sakura going to land a clean right hand over the top and rock Arichi Lung and then, go to ground and finish him with some short little ground and pound shots. And I think that'll be all she wrote for that one. All right, on to the main event. Umar Nurmagomedov. 20 wins, only the one blemish on his career. 30 years of age. He's facing Song Yedong, the Chinaman. 28 years of age. Both guys are pretty similar in height and reach. So it's a fairly even fight here. Umar's ranked number 3 at bantamweight. Song Yedong ranked number 6 in the bantamweight division. Both guys have fought Devisan Figueiredo. They both won. Umar beat Corey Sandhagen, and Song Yedong lost that fight. I remember that was quite a nasty elbow Sandhagen landed on Song and busted him up. I believe that was a doctor's stoppage or something along those lines. So most recently, Umar versed Devisan Figueiredo and beat him comfortably by decision, unanimous. His only one loss has come from Merab Dvalishvili, so quite impressive there. Still a relatively young guy, only 30. Song, 28, so they've both still got long careers ahead of them. I feel like Song has probably taken a little bit more damage than Umar has, so that's not really great for him. Anyway, Song Yedong versus Devisan Figueiredo in his most recent fight in May of this year. and beat him by submission, which was quite surprising to me. I thought Devasan would have got the better of him. But I think he's, probably biting off bigger competition at bantamweight. I think Song Yadong bullied him a little bit in that fight, being a bit bigger, a bit more of a natural bantamweight. I think Song Yadong is. Anyway, I think this is going to be a very entertaining fight. I think both guys are tough as nails. I think Song can certainly take the punishment as well as he can dish it out. I think Umar's a very clean sort of fighter. He doesn't really like to get hit. I think he uses his grappling, obviously, very well, coming from that Nurmagomedov style. But I think in terms of all the Dagestani Nurmagomedov type fighters, I think he is a bit more of a striker type as well. I think he can kick. He has pretty good high kicks, if I remember rightly. Pretty entertaining style from Umar. Not all about the grappling like the rest of the clan. Song Yadong's a beast though. He's technical. He's explosive. He's starting to get quite a good amount of experience, I think, too. He's fought some of the best in the division. But you can say much the same for Umar. I think these guys are both very similar. The only real difference, I would say, is that Umar has probably a large advantage on the ground. I think Song can defend takedowns quite well and submissions quite well, but I think he's also out of depth here. I don't think he's ever faced anyone quite the caliber of Umar when it comes to the ground game. I think that's probably the way Umar's going to exploit it in this fight. I think it's going to be a little bit of a grappling fest. I think he will stand and strike, but I think he's going to go to the ground pretty early and pretty often. So I'm going to go with Umar Nurmagomedov to get this one done by unanimous decision with a hell of a lot of control time, and eventually we see Song Yadong that's looking a little bit gassed come the later rounds. The repeated attempts to get up have taken their toll on him, and I think Umar's going to look fresher, especially in the later rounds. He's going to have more gas in the tank, and he's just going to simply outwork Song Yadong over the 5 rounds. So not a great deal of value in that. I think that's a pretty safe bet in my opinion. I think, but good on Song Yadong, and I think he's going to make it entertaining. It's in his hometown, in China, in his home country. So I think he's going to want to go out there and put on a show. But I think, like I said, Umar on the ground is going to be steps ahead, levels above what Song can sort of deal with when it comes to the ground game. So Umar by decision, unanimous in that one. Anyway, I'll leave it there. If you guys think I should have covered a different fight or something, let me know. But thanks for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy the fights.